Hello. Hi, I'm Christine. I'm doing a public live. So if you haven't seen me before, hello. I am Christine. I do lots of sewing. I teach sewing. And today I'm going to show you those mythical things called PDF patterns. If you have a question as I'm going along, please drop it in the chat box. And if you are watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And I'm so happy to have you here. I am obsessed with sewing patterns because I like the numbers of them. So I don't have a huge stash of patterns. You don't need to have a whole bunch of sewing patterns. You just need like a few. So let's get straight into it. So PDF sewing patterns. What are they? So you might know about these sewing patterns. These are the old school, not old school, you still get them. I mean, they release new ones every few months. They're not old and they're not outdated. They're still great, but not everyone likes using them. These are usually referred to as Big Four sewing patterns or tissue paper patterns because they're on this like tissue papery, very thin. I don't know how they fit them in there. You can see this one's never been unfolded because how on earth do you get it back in there? But these are probably what you've seen before. When you think about sewing patterns, this is probably what you've seen. So these are what we call paper patterns or Big Four patterns, usually. Like McCall, Simplicity, Burda, those are the Big Four. Okay, Vogue. Is the Vogue the other one? I don't know. I haven't used one in 8 years. Okay, so they come in little envelopes like this. They've got the not the instructions, like the yardage on the back, the sizes. This is a doll pattern, so it doesn't have all of that, but it has like the list of materials you need, and then it has a sheet like this with your sketches and your sewing instructions. So the sewing instructions on these paper patterns are illustrations like that. And for some of us, those illustrations can be super confusing. I know when I started sewing, I did not know what the heck was going on. I could not figure these out. It confused me so much. Reading it now, it's easy. If I read it now, it's easy because I've done so much sewing, so I already know how to do the thing. But when I was starting out, they were so confusing. And that's when I discovered PDF sewing patterns. Now, PDF sewing patterns, in short, just that's what they are. They're in PDF format. You print them on any home printer. You can have them printed at a copy shop. And you assemble them like a puzzle. So when you're finished assembling them, you've got something like this. This is a sleeve pattern from a t-shirt that I've cut out. I don't usually cut my PDF patterns out. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you what I do instead. This one I cut out because... Why? I can't even remember. I think I was in a rush and I didn't have any more tracing stuff. And I was testing a pattern and I just wanted to get it over with. But usually I don't cut my patterns out. But first, before we get to that, I'm going to show you how to print your PDF patterns. How do you know if you're printing them the right way and how you assemble them? And I've got a stack of printouts here. I've got one pattern printed that I'm going to assemble in real time with you so you can see how long it really takes. Because I think a big part of using these patterns, and if you're in one of my sewing clubs or in my sewing programs, maybe this is the thing holding you back from starting on your project, is you think about the stack. Oh, I've got to glue them all together. Sounds like a nightmare. I know, especially if it's like 50 pages, right? And that's why I'm going to show you why I don't cut my patterns usually, and why, and how to make it go faster, and do it while you're watching like Netflix or something. I do that all the time, or like on a Saturday morning, the kids are watching Bluey, and I'll just like be in there with them, and they help me. They slow me down, to be honest. But they kind of feel like they're helping mommy and it's this fun thing, and it actually just gets done. I'm just like, hey guys, you want to help me with this chore I have? So I look at it as a chore, yes, but I have to do it because I don't have a projector and I don't feel like having my patterns printed all the time. So let's get to, I'm going to show you if you're in the sewing, any of my sewing programs, where you're going to find the patterns. But if you're downloading patterns from anywhere else, this is relevant. So wherever you're downloading patterns from, this is going to be the way you're going to print them. So you will, whatever pattern you're making, you'll receive a download of it, either to your email or to like in the purchase thing or whatever, if you're using a free pattern. And if you open the pattern on your computer, don't open it on your phone. That's the first thing. Do not print from a tablet or a cell phone. And don't print from your browser. You have to download it and open it in the PDF printing program. So the first thing you need to know is it comes in all kinds of pages and you're going to build it like a puzzle. And before you print it, you can look at the pattern layout. So this is what those will look like all glued together. This is the pattern I'm doing today. It's the elastic waist skirt from my Sew Your Look program. And it gives you like a puzzle. You know, like the picture on the front of the puzzle? You've got the puzzle pieces and you've got the final picture you're going for. And you're going to assemble the pattern according to the instructions over here. It's not super complicated. It's just rows and columns and it's just pages stuck together. Usually comes in A4 US letters. Some of mine I put in A3 as well. It saves on printing and saves time. Now when you download the pattern and you open it up, it's going to open up like this. Can you see this? Let me check. You can. And you'll see this one is 19 pages. And it looks like this. Now, I cannot print it from here. Do not print from your browser because you need to print it on scale. That means it needs to be printed at 100% of the size it's at. So you're going to download. It will download. Okay. And then when you open it up, where's my downloads folder? Give me a moment to just share that. Okay, oops. I need to share my window so you can see. Window. Which one is it? There. Okay. I'm sharing and you should see it now. There we go. Okay, I've opened it in PDF Reader, Adobe PDF Reader. You get it for free. You can download a free version. This is, as far as I know, the best way to print your PDF pattern. And now all you need to do is to click print. Now when you print, important, you don't want this to be checked. The one that says fit. If you go to the page size and handling. Why is it not showing it? It's not showing the print box. Hang on, let me see. I want you to see everything I'm doing. Okay. I usually don't share from my... There. Okay. Sorry, you're seeing my console over here, but I think now you can see this. Yes, okay. And if I click print, is it showing you that? It is. Yay. Okay. Now I've learned something. Always learning something in sewing, hey, even if it's a tech thing. Right, so when you're printing, first things first, on page 1, you'll see there's a little block and it says 5 by 5 centimeters and 2 by 2 inches, right? You want to know, is your printer printing according to scale? So if you're new to printing PDF patterns, please only print page 1 first. So first you're going to print page 1. just to check, because you need to measure that. If this is like 1/4 of an inch out, your pattern will not fit you. And then on size and handling, there, page size and handling, you want actual size. Why are you not doing anything? Here we go. Actual size. You don't want to scale. You just want actual size. If it doesn't give you that option, you need 100%. And you can hit print. Don't print on both sides of the paper or anything like that. Okay, I'm back. Hello. What have I done? Right. So when you have printed your stack, you'll see it has page numbers, and we'll get to that in a moment. When you've printed your first one, you want to measure that little block. And it needs to be exactly... My dog is barking. I'm surprised because she never barks. She's so old. Okay, you want this to be exactly 2 by 2 inches. There you go. 2 by 2 inches. 5 by 5 centimeters, or whatever is on the pattern. There might be a 1-inch block, there might be a little grid, whatever it is. So if you're happy with that, now you can start assembling the pattern. Now, before I start, I am going to show you what, sorry, this is my tracing stuff. I don't want to lose it. Let me show you what it looks like when the pages are actually glued together. So here's one I did over the weekend. There. And you can see where the pages have been joined. It's a full-size pattern. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Okay. Full-size pattern. You don't need to do anything. These patterns usually include seam allowances. They include multiple sizes. Oh, that I need to show you. Okay. Before we get to the assembling, you can choose multiple sizes on a sewing pattern, on a PDF pattern. And it's called the layers. You use the layers option. And when you do this, you can print your specific size, or you can print all the sizes. I highly recommend printing either all of the sizes or 2 bigger and 2 smaller. So you print 5. If you are a size 12, print 2 sizes smaller than that, up to size 8, and 2 bigger, okay, up to size 16. Just because, especially if you're a beginner, but if you're using your patterns for different things, it's good to have different sizes. So this pattern specifically that I have here, this is the pajama pattern we are sewing in our April sewing challenge in the Creative Sewing Club. And I've printed it smaller, first of all, in case I want to use a higher stretch knit fabric for it. And I've printed one bigger in case I want to make a sweatshirt out of it, because you can do that, right? I mean, it's your life and your rules. Okay, so when you are printing your sizes, you'll see it has loads of little lines on the pattern. Those are all the sizes. And there's a size key. So each color is a different size. There you can see the different sizes on this specific pattern. And then there's a size key. Where is it? It's on one of these pages. Let's find it. But it shows you, I've gone all the way down, hang on. There. Anyway, I've scrolled past it, but it shows you exactly which size is which line. So the smallest one, the smallest line will be the size 6, and then a size 8 is the blue one, and a green is a size 10, and an orange is size 12, black is size 14, and so on. Now, if you're printing only a few sizes, only your size, or only a handful of sizes, you get to select them. So on the side over here, I've clicked on those. That's the layers option, like 2 little blocks there. And you can uncheck the ones you're not going to use. I'm definitely not going to use a 6 or an 8 because that doesn't fit me. So I can uncheck those. Usually I just keep all the sizes because you never know. Life happens, sizes change. I have been 4 different sizes in the past 2 years. And if I had to reprint every pattern, it would drive me mad. Also, it gives you space, as I say, to play with the pattern to do different things. This is an elastic waist skirt, which means it is gathered at the waist with an elastic. And that means I might want something less gathered, so I'll make one size smaller, or more gathered, and I can make it bigger but use the same waistband, and I have more gathers. Or I might want to add the skirt to the bottom of a blouse like this and use the skirt pattern to gather to make a dress. And for this reason, I always print as many sizes as possible, at least 5. So you can select your sizes in the layers panel. If you check the little icon over there, it will uncheck the sizes. I wear a size 16, it's that one. So I'm usually go 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20 at least. And I'll print, that's the range of sizes I usually print. But if you're sewing for other people or something like that, you want to print as many as possible. And you're not going to cut every single every single size out, because you want to preserve your pattern. So you have the options to do all kinds of different things, right? Okay. So the next thing, I'm going to move over to assembling the pattern. So what you do when you've got this stack of paper. And to do that, when you're printing your pattern, side note, I've just realized my stack of envelopes here. This is how I like to store my patterns. You'll find all kinds of storage methods. I like to have these big envelopes, and I print the cover page of my pattern, and I just stick that on there, and there you go. I know what's in there, and I'll write little notes if I want. And inside I have the original pattern. So this is the kids one of my kids' patterns, and I've got 3 girls, and they all wear different sizes because they're different ages. So I've got the complete assembled pattern. I folded in there. I haven't cut it up because, let's be honest, they grow like you've just made their winter stuff and now they're a new size, really. Anyway, and then I have the traced ones. There's a little shorty for my 3-year-old. I've got the traced pieces. And this fabric I'm tracing on is called Polytrace. I don't know if you get it in all countries. In South Africa, it's called Vitrace. You can use a cheap interfacing as well. It's great because you can see through it, and when you fold it, it folds really easily, and you can pin through it, and it clings to your fabric. So it is my favorite way of using a pattern. And I have this all folded together, and I just keep it in these envelopes. I've got a filing box with them in. And believe me when I say, when you print your sewing pattern, print that first page too. Because you're going to write on here with a Sharpie or whatever marker you use, and you're not going to know what on earth is in there. So this one, hey, this is the one I'm wearing. Oh, that's the top I'm wearing. I need to keep that one side because I want to make another one. Okay. I'm going to switch my camera to my hands just so you can see me assemble this in real time. Where is my glue and where is the scissor I had? Did I leave it? This is so typical of me. Hang on. I see it. Excuse me for 1 second while I fetch the glue I need. Welcome to my sewing channel where I run out of the screen when I'm doing a live. Okay. This is why I do things live and I don't do pre-recorded, because I would just scrap this whole video and start over. Okay, time to switch. I'm going to switch to my hands, and so I'll disappear for a second, and then I'm going to show you how I assemble this pattern. I'm going to do it in real time. If you're watching the replay, feel free to double speed here, but I find watching people do things is the best way by far to learn how to do them. So I'll be back in a second. I'm back. There it is. Oh, it's a bit wobbly. Hang on. I just really don't want that's the microphone. That looks awful. Okay. We're here. That's the pattern. This is my preferred glue to use, liquid, because it sticks like nobody's business. I don't use tape, and I don't use those little school glue sticks because they come off. They fall apart, and that's super annoying. So first things first, you will notice the pages are numbered. On my patterns, the second number, so I've got 1, 1. The first number is it's page number 1. And the second number is it's that row. So this is page 1 in the first row. This is page 2 in the first row. This is page 3 in the first row. And so it goes until you get to this is page 1 in the second line. So what I do is I grab a bunch of these. I'm not going to trim the edges. I saw this. This is from someone's blog. I'm sorry if I don't know whose blog this is from. You're welcome in the comments to just say who it was. I can't remember. But I trim the corners. So you will find something called a no trim sewing pattern. I used to make them. I don't know. I didn't like them because your printer doesn't always print straight. So my printer tends to start going crooked the further it prints. So the important part is your pattern lines need to line up. Don't worry about all the other things. These lines of your pattern need to line up. And a way I found to always get that right is by doing the trim the corners method. So what you do is you trim all the corners on one long end. So they're all lined up. And by corners, I mean outside of that frame. Because there's a little frame around the page. And you're trimming those corners. And then what you do is you start lining those corners up. So you have these little triangles on the pattern. Those need to line up to make a diamond. So this triangle needs to line up with that one on page 2, right? But I don't feel like trimming all these things off. So if I just line those corners up there, it actually lines up perfectly. And yes, there's a white strip in between. But it's okay. You're just continuing your line through that. You can trim this off if this seems really hard for you. I like this method. It's just, I find it so much quicker. So quick. I've actually seen people assemble their patterns against like a sliding door. But this method is fast and it always lines up perfectly. So I've got that one glued down. I usually lift this back a bit and add a bit more glue to those. So there's the first way you can do this. This is my preferred method. The next way you can do this is by folding this back. Folding it on this line over here. Takes a bit longer, but if it's very hard to see, this could help you. Okay, like so. How are we doing for time? And now you can see how the lines are going to line up on your pattern. So you want your pattern lines to line up. You don't care about all the other stuff. As long as your pattern lines are lining up. That's the important part. I've seen people stitch their patterns together. Seems a bit fiddly to me. But you can do that. You can sew on paper. Okay. There's another method. So you can see the difference. This one still has the white trim and this one does not. So if you're having a hard time seeing, then you could do that. Now, I don't assemble all these pages. If you look at the final pattern layout, you will notice, hang on, let me show you. Okay. If you look at the final pattern layout, you're going to notice that there is a separate waistband piece. That's the rectangle piece. It's not connected to the rest of the pattern. So when I see something like this, and you don't have to do it this way, you can just assemble everything. When I see something like this, then I'll just leave that part separate and I'll work with one piece at a time. So what I do is I assemble the first row and I put it to one side. So I've got a whole lot of strips of my pattern, right? Then I assemble the next row. So there I can see that's the rest of my waistband. And look, it's this one's page 4-1 and this one's page 4-2. So these two are going together. So actually, let me assemble those quickly and I've got them done. For something like a waistband, sometimes you'll find you do want to trim the paper off purely because the lines sometimes get hidden inside the printing border. Now I try my best to when I do the pattern layout not to do that. There you can see this line is right on the edge of the border. I don't want to cover it because I'll lose an entire size line. Not that it's my size, but who knows? You know, my kids grow up, they might want a skirt when they're a bit older, and then this pattern, this glue will last that long. Okay, this glue will last forever. So there we have it. There I've got my skirt waistband. So I've got 4-1 and 4-2. Next, I'm going to do row 2's pattern pieces. I have them here. I'm clipping the corners. And I am assembling them. I've clipped the wrong size corners now. Not that it matters, it's just I'm working upside down. Doesn't matter which corners you clip, okay? You just need to clip something. And just a little, the nice thing about this liquid glue also is, you know, when you're working with a glue stick, it'll like go on everything, end up on the table because it's got such a wide stick. What do you call it? I don't know what you call it. Anyway. And this you can kind of move around the liquid glue. There we have it. So I know, as I said, this feels like it takes long. But if you know, you don't have to do this every time you're sewing because you've already got your pattern traced and you're using similar patterns or you're reusing your patterns. That's the most important thing is you've got to get used to reusing your sewing patterns. When you feel like you've got to do a new pattern for every single thing you make, then you don't want to sew because it's so much more work. Okay, I've got row 2, I've got row 1. I don't know how many rows I have here. 5. Oh, goodness. It's a maxi skirt, so it's got quite a bunch of pattern pieces. So if you want to, in the replay, skip all of this, go for it. When you're clipping, I clipped a bit too close, too far. You want to clip like right up to the corner. If you ever need motivation to assemble your pattern, I don't know if you've ever heard of body doubling. Body doubling is a concept that we work better when someone beside us is also working on something. Like that feeling you get when you're working in the office, if you've ever been in an office or you're studying together or you're watching a decluttering video and you're tidying your kitchen. It just feels easier to do. And that's why I do these things live and in real time, because when you're seeing them happen, that's on row 3, in real time, you're more likely to do those things. So we use body doubling and mirror neurons. I think they're called mirror neurons. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Um, but mirror neurons are like if someone you act the way people around you are acting, okay? Like kind of like crowd mentality kind of thing. What is that's the MIDI link. Couldn't understand my own lines on my pattern now. Anyway, so your brain is subconsciously mirroring, what a word, copying whatever's happening around you, even if you don't realize it. And we can use that to our advantage. And that's why we do live so-longs. It's motivating you, it's helping you follow through, helping you finish things. Helps me finish loads of projects just because I have to show up, do the thing, help you do the thing. We're almost done. It's not that bad. Maybe we should do a pattern paste-a-thon and do like bring your pattern and let's see how many you can finish in half an hour. Okay, last little bit, and then I'll show you how to assemble it into the big piece of big pattern, completed pattern. So this one only starts at 2-5. It doesn't start at 1-5. And that's just the layout. Don't worry about that. You're not missing a page. You can see it on the final pattern layout. Just follow the final pattern layout. But it's not cryptic. Most patterns will have like 1A, 1B, or some form of numbers to help you. Sometimes the numbers are here, they match here in the middle. I don't know who invented PDF patterns, but I'm so grateful for them. You also don't forget that you get these in an A0 or a plan size. Don't print poster, okay? If you print it as a poster, they're going to charge you a ridiculous amount because posters are usually very high quality printing. You've got to go for like architectural plans, plotter or plan printing. Okay, all my rows are done. I've got row 5. Now I like to put them this way to dry. Row 4, row 3, 2, and 1. I have my waistband. I'm going to keep my waistband piece just like that. And then now, what I like to do now, just because my printer tends to not always print straight, what I like to do for the rows is to trim the bottom edge or the top edge of one of them off. So I'm going to trim the bottom edge here, just because I get a better assembly. You don't have to do this. I prefer to, and I know I haven't printed this pattern. I literally hand drafted it the first time I made it, and I've been using that hand drafted version, but I need a different size now. So I've never printed this, but I know I'm going to use it so many times. So I'm okay going to this effort. And now we want to line it up as good as possible. Please, if it's like a quarter of an inch is a lot, but if it's like a tiny bit out, please don't rip your pattern apart. Okay, and there it's starting to look like something. Don't rip it all apart. Just, everything is okay. You can get away with it, like a tiny mismatch. Okay, next one, from one end. So put your favorite podcast on, or an audio book, or get your kids to help you. Put a TV show on, whatever you want to do, and just glue that pattern. It's like 20 minutes and it's done. think, yeah, I've been busy for 10 minutes here. Skirty is coming along. So now you can see the rows coming together. Row 1, row 2, row 3, then we've got row 4. This liquid glue is really not expensive. Very, very useful. I've put too much glue on. Great. I like to start by lining up one triangle and then moving it to line up the rest. I didn't need that glue right there. Let's just get it off. There we go. Okay. Almost done, almost done. If there's a piece like this, like a random page with nothing on it, just has the one line, I'll often just cut this off. All these little scraps go to my grocery list. Last one. Row 5. So again, starting with a triangle over there, checking my lines, they're all lined up. Yay, my pattern is assembled. Okay, now I'm going to show you one last thing before I finish up this live for today, is that I like to trace my patterns. So I think for this pattern I am going to go, I want it a bit more gathered. Maybe I'll go with a 16 or an 18. Okay, so first things first, you need to know what size you're choosing. Then you need to find the line you need to be tracing. I can't recommend tracing your patterns enough. Okay, here's my weird box of stationery. And I like to use these whiteboard markers. And sometimes, I'm going to do this for your benefit so you can see, but sometimes I will trace the line to darken it. Or at least start tracing it so I know where to go. And give like little markers in between. Like there is the knee length mark. There is the midi. And there's the maxi. So I've got little markers on. And then I have my roll of tracing, whatever you can use, tracing paper. I don't know if this is wide enough. Looks like it is. And you see that, I can see right through. I can see through this pattern. And it is just so easy to trace this now. Weigh that down with whatever you can find. Check your pattern is fitting in. And I will use a marker. I like to use the thinner ones, like these. And I use a ruler. Why not? It helps you speed everything up. Here's my favorite. If I have any straight lines to trace, I will use the ruler, or even curve the ruler along my curved lines like this. Can you see it? Can you see what I'm doing? You can. Okay. And I know my pattern already has a seam allowance included. Okay. And that's how I trace my pattern. I don't know if you can see the lines. It may be a bit light. I can see them. And then very important, you want to write your pattern information onto this traced page. And the size. So I have a size 18. Elastic waist skirt. Grain line. Oh, what else? Front and back. I know how to cut them. And important, your seam allowance. What's in this one? 5/8. There you go. And that's the tracing. Let me go back up to my face. Thank you. Hi. Thank you for hanging out with me. And thank you for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, I hope you are less scared of sewing patterns. I hope you see the potential in using a PDF pattern. And if you want to learn to sew, if you want to learn to make your own clothes, check out my Sew Your Look program. We are making elastic waist skirts first. This is the first pattern we make. We jump right in. You make it like in the first week or two, like in the first 2 weeks. You actually make a skirt. So that's what we're doing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. And all my lovely members from all my clubs, thank you for watching. And I can't wait to see what you make. And I will see you for the next live. Thanks. Bye.